Prot Paladins, you started off as the classic meme, went to live the TBC dream, and now it's time to be king. Hi, I'm Aeon, and today, let's go over Prot Paladin in Wrath of the Lich King. So let's talk a little bit about how you're going to build your Paladin. So on the screen now, I'm going to show you a very generic Prot Paladin talent build and glyphs. Now I want to let you know that, opinions and builds are the same thing. Everybody has one. This isn't the only build you can play. There are lots of diversity in the Paladin build. You can go down to Aura Mastery. You can play the stun build for ICC Heroic, for Lich King. There's lots of little nuances here and there that you can change in the Prot Paladin build if you want it. So this build is just a generic, get you from A to B. However, once you're used to that, you can then, fiddle with it as much as you like. So before you go to the comment section and get very angry about the build, it's okay. Your build's just as good, okay? Just want to put a little side note on these glyphs. There are lots of glyphs. Some of them are actually very useful in certain situations. But one I really want to bring to your attention is the Hand of Salvation glyph. This basically causes your Hand of Salvation, if used on yourself, to give you a damage reduction. That sounds counterproductive. Why do you want to reduce your threat as a tank? But Paladin threat is pretty crazy, and having access to another 20% DR, I believe it is, it's fantastic. And there'll be times, you want to use this, so you'll have multiple DRs as a Prot Paladin. So just keep it in mind if you're getting slapped by a boss and your threat is completely fine, so you're happy to drop that threat. Alright? So moving on to gems, stuff like that. So I'm going to just put this on the screen so you can see which ones there is. So the meta, then you want pure stamina and everything else. Unless you need expertise, you can put in a Guardians instead of a stamina, which is a stamina expertise one. Or if you want to go for, if there's a huge socket bonus, let's say there's a really big stamina socket bonus, you can put in, and your expertise cap, you can put in like a shifting one to get that socket bonus. But most of the time, you're stacking the shit out of stamina. Alright, so not really much else there. I'm going to put on screen now all the enchants that you need. If you choose to go engineering, your glove enchant will change and your boot enchant will change. But apart from that, everything else kind of stays the same. The big one is weapon. I personally really like Mongoose. I just like the attack speed of it and the agility gain. But some people have different opinions. I go for Mongoose. You can go for blade turning, I think it is. And there's another one that people think about. But yeah, don't worry about that. I just want to hop in real quick to say, if you have an idea for a guide you want to see, just let me know in my comment section or join my Discord and live stream and tell me there, okay? I want to hear everything you want to see. I want to provide that for you. So if you have any suggestions, drop in, let me know. Okay, so you have your talent build. Let's talk stats, okay? So the first thing, the most important thing as a tank is hitting 540 defense. This makes you immune to crit, okay? And you just need this, okay? There is no other thing to talk about. 540 defense, right? After that, hit and expertise, okay? You will need 8% hit and 26 expertise rating in order to make sure that you are guaranteed to hit the mob almost every time. But once you hit 26 expertise, don't try and go higher for the parry one. Just sit at 26. This is where you have a little change in comparison to TBC. In TBC, intellect and spell power was on your gear. Now it's strength. You gear basically like a warrior, and strength then converts into basically 3 stats. So strength will give you attack power, as it always done, block value, as it always has, but now it'll also translate to spell power. So strength is a fantastic stat for paladins. It gives you defense and offense. Absolutely beautiful. After that, you want to basically look at your stats your avoidance stats a bit differently. So you're going to have block value on one side, which is extremely cheap per percentage. You get a lot of percentage block rating, not block value. A lot of percentage block chance just from having block rating. Parry being extremely expensive per percentage, so I tend to, get rid of that. And then dodge, okay? So for me, on my gear, crit cap, expertise and hit cap, stamina and armor, and then I go for a mix of block rating, block value, and dodge. Okay, I tend to stay away from parry as much as possible. That's just my personal thing. Some people might love it for the resets, but that's basically it for stats. For enchants and gems out the way, I'm just going to quickly put on the screen now these sorts of consumables you'll be going as a Prot Paladin. These are just your generic things you'll be using in each rage and dungeon. Please pause the video if you need to look at more, okay? So let's talk about the most controversial topic here, which I'm sure the YouTube comments will be flashing up about, which is professions for a Prot Paladin. Now, I'm going to give you my opinion and the opinion of a lot of people, but I'm sure there'll be people that'll have very different things about making money and stuff. However, for me, engineering is fantastic, okay? It's not just an offensive gain like it was before. You gain a glove enchant for a metric shit ton of armor. I think it's 885. It's fantastic. Nitro boots is now just a slap it on your boot enchant. It gives you crit and then gives you nitro boots on your just your regular tanking boots, which is just fantastic. You get bombs, you get goggles early on. There's so much stuff, okay? Now, that for me is irreplaceable. Definitely the nitro boots. There are times in raids when I've been able to just zip across the room because I'm an engineer, and it's been great. You don't have any other way of moving quickly as a paladin apart from Pursuit of Justice. So engineering for me is a big win. After that, as long as dual crafting stays the version that it is on the beta, which is the buffed version from 3.2, dual crafting is fantastic. Definitely right at the beginning, you can gain 2 very strong tanking trinkets, and also gems. Like you get the dual crafting specific gems, which I think I have wrote down here. I don't. Basically it's at the beginning of the expansion. It's an extra shit ton of stamina over any other profession, okay? So for me, engineering dual crafting is the way to go. I understand it's very expensive for some people, so I'm going to move on to like a few extra things. Mining is fantastic. Mining in Wrath gives you 60 stamina, baseline, flat, okay? So if you like engineering, but you don't really want to have engineering dual crafting because that's basically no gathering profession, then you can go for mining. It is not a bad option. Like engineering mining is fine, dual crafting mining is fine. And then you've got blacksmithing, which gives you 48 extra stamina at the beginning and 30 at the end of the expansion when the epic gems come out, because it gives you 2 bonus sockets, so it's okay. Now, a little note on the side, if you are going to dual spec Ret or Holy, I'm bringing guides out for them, so check them out. Definitely for Ret, engineering dual crafting, and to be fair, even for Holy, engineering dual crafting is pretty much amazing, okay? So, whereas mining would not be good for engineering or dual for Ret or Holy, right? Okay, so Ret and Holy, engineering dual crafting is also fantastic. So as an all-round paladin professions, that's my tip. So your paladin is built. You have him all ready to go. Let's talk how you're actually going to play this, okay? So as long as you've taken the glyphs that I've suggested and the build I've suggested, the play style of Paladin is quite simple, okay? The first thing you need to do is maintain Sacred Shield and Divine Plea. Now, Divine Plea will refresh itself every time you hit a target, so that's fine. As you're running into combat, Sacred Shield up, Divine Plea up. Now, for prolonged cleave or single target, you want to use Seal of Vengeance, okay? This will basically stack up on mobs, loads and loads and loads over time, and then it's great. Also gives you 10 flat expertise rating so long as you're using the glyph. If you are having very bursty, so small packs of mobs that aren't lasting very long, you don't really get to stack up your Seal of Vengeance on them, Seal of Command is a fantastic alternative. The idea is to use Holy Shield on cooldown, keep Consecration on the floor, and then prioritize Shield of the Righteous into Hand of the Righteous for your pure single target. And then that's pretty much it. So keep your shield up, keep your Consecration down, make sure you're maintaining your 2 buffs, and then you're using Hammer and Shield of the Righteous on cooldown, and then Avenging Shield on cooldown. Now you'll get into sort of a rotation for this. It's called the 6-9, but yeah, that's basically the gist of it all. So let's move on to your cooldowns, because as a Prot Paladin, you have quite a few. Your only offensive cooldown really is the Avenging Wrath. You know, your wings, perfect, big damage, yes. Then you have 3 defensive cooldowns, okay? So it goes pretty full out in Wrath. You have Divine Protection, which is your bubble, but you don't lose threat. It's a 50% damage reduction. It is fire. After that, if you glyph the Hand of Salvation, as I mentioned, you will then have access to Hand of Salvation, also being a 20% DR. And then you have Divine Sacrifice. Now, Divine Sacrifice is a tricky one, as when you pop it, everyone in your party, any damage they take will be, or like a portion of the damage they take will be redirected to you. That's fantastic if you don't die. However, the improved version of it, so the talent you take underneath, actually gives everybody in your party and raid a damage reduction cooldown. So what you can do with a macro is you can cast Divine Sacrifice, cancel the spell ID that does the transferring damage to you, but keep the damage reduction, giving you 3 defensives as a Prot Paladin. It's pretty damn insane. Outside of that, you do have, obviously, Divine Sacrifice is a raid utility cooldown, so try not to be, too selfish with it. Giving 20% DR to everybody in your group, and then transferring damage to you from your group only. You have all of your now hands, okay? So, Freedom, Protection, and Salvation used to be called Blessings. They're now called Hands. They're called Hand of Freedom, etc. The whole point of that, basically, is that in TBC, if you kingsed a group, kings the mages, and then you had to freedom a mage, it would remove kings, right? It's fucking annoying. So in Wrath, they changed it, that blessings are blessings and hands are hands. So you have now the ability to just use freedom and protection and salvation whenever you like, okay? Now you do have a little bit of utility on the side. So Hand of Sacrifice now takes just a flat portion of the damage from somebody and gives it to you. Think of it like a single target Divine Sacrifice. So if your tanking partner is now on the boss and he needs a defensive, you can slap Hand of Sacrifice on him and take a portion of his damage for him, basically just becoming a 30% DR for him, which is insane. So you also then have Judgment. Judgment works a little bit differently in Wrath, so don't stress. You judge, and it basically, you can pick your Judgment regardless of your seal. You'll have Judgment of Wisdom, Justice, and Light. You can pick which one you want to do, so your raid leader will probably assign you which one you're supposed to do, so just do it on cooldown. It's also part of your threat rotation. Obviously, as we mentioned before, you have Blessings of Sanctity, Wisdom, Might, Crit, Sanctuary, fantastic. And if you spec for Aura Mastery, you also have that as a raid-wide cooldown. So as you can tell from this very lengthy part of the rotation and the cooldowns, you have a lot. You are an absolute unit, okay? So enjoy. So that pretty much sums up a very generic guide for a Prot Paladin. This is made for people to go from A to B to start up on the Prot Paladin, so you have somewhere to have a foundation, okay? This is not made for people that have played Prot Paladin for like 16 years and want to give their opinion away. This is just for people who are new or thinking of rolling to a Prot Paladin, a very nice foundation. If you have any ideas of what class you want to see next, please let me know in the comment section below. Join my Discord, follow my Twitch, I'm all over there. Feel free to come in and ask or suggest what you want to see. I'd love to hear it. Thank you very much for tuning in. My Holy Paladin video hit nearly 4,000 views, I think now, somewhere close to that, which is just insane. I can't believe that that's even a thing. I was expecting to get a few hundred, not a few thousand. So thank you so much for that. And until next time, peace.